Regardless, my first guest says this is all the proof that the real poison is the health care bill, now law itself. Outgoing Republican Senator Gregg joining me right now. Senator, great to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you, Neil.
Boy,
I'm not one of those sinners.
But wait, I hope. They're all abandoning it. And even the ones who like it are saying, well, you know, I always had problems with it. What's going on?
Well, giving the Democrats another shot at health care is like giving an axe murderer another axe. I mean, they've done so much damage already with this bill. We're seeing significant increase in premiums, well above what they would have been had the health care bill not been put in place.
How do you know the insurance companies, though, aren't using that?
Well, because we're seeing scores coming out of independent analysis. Premiums went up by about an average about 8 to 9%. It's estimated that 1 to 2% of that was directly a result of the health care bill, and it hasn't even really started to kick in. We're also seeing a lot of employers basically having to abandon their plan so that people who have insurance, which they liked, which they were told they're going to get to keep, they can't keep it, because if there's even a minor change to your health insurance plan as an employer, especially a small employer, you're thrown into the situation where you have to take on all the different mandates of this bill, and you find that your health care plan is too expensive for your employees, so you say, all right, I can't do it. I'm going to take the penalty, and you folks, you're all going to have to go over here to the exchange and buy subsidized insurance, which basically gets paid for by the.
So we get a single-payer system in the end.
That was the goal of this plan. I think we talked about this a lot. It was like a Trojan horse deal. Yeah, it wasn't even very Trojan. I mean, everybody knew it was out there. Everybody knew that the real game plan here was to put us on a slope towards a single-payer plan by creating an atmosphere where private insurance basically wasn't viable or was so expensive that it really wasn't something that employers could maintain, and create a movement towards these exchanges which were subsidized, and then create this huge subsidized event when at some point the government steps in and says, I'm sorry, this is too expensive, so we're going to have to price control this, and therefore we get the single-payer plan.
Well, do you worry, Senator, that your party is going to make things worse or maybe provide an opportunity for insurance companies to keep raising premiums because you want to either starve the law or delay some of its implementation? And in that gap, insurance companies can continue hike.
Well, that would be unfortunate if that happened, and I'm not going to say that you wouldn't end up with some gaming of the system that way, but the simple fact is that the plan as structured today isn't going to work except to push us into a situation where the government gets expanded by $2.5 trillion, $2.5 trillion over the next 10 years.
Well, would you repeal it, or, as John Boehner has indicated, starve it?
I don't think starving or repeal is probably the best approach here.
What would you do?
You basically go in and you restructure it. What we did in this proposal, which actually made some sense, was that we restructured the Medicare system in a way that saved $500 billion to $1 trillion for Medicare, out of Medicare. But we took all that money and we created a brand new entitlement, which we underfunded. We should take the money that was in the Medicare system, that is being saved in the Medicare system, and use it to shore up the Medicare system, which we know is going insolvent. And then we should readdress this issue of uninsured so that we don't end up with a massive new program which we can't afford, but rather set up a program recognizing that there are different demographic groups in the uninsured, and they can be taken care of in different ways, such as through catastrophic plans, such as through health savings accounts, which get you a much more efficient and effective system. And lastly, and most importantly, we have to change the way the health care is delivered in this country. We have to reward people for doing good quality health care at lower costs and stop rewarding people for just doing repetitious things that get you a lot of money and create a lot of fraud.
You're leaving Washington soon. Do you ever regret not taking that commerce spot?
No. I made a mistake.
Turning it down, or?
Yeah, I made a mistake in saying
even
yes.
entertaining
It was really inappropriate because, in the euphoria of the moment, I really thought maybe I could go in and contribute in a constructive way. I would have wanted to. But when you're in the cabinet, you've got to be with the president 100% of the time.
What did the president say, by the way, when you said, that's it?
Well, I've never talked about that. But he was extremely gracious and very decent about my decision. I said,
So it wasn't like, you what?
I won't comment on how he characterized it, but he was extraordinarily gracious about it, and I've always admired him for that. Appreciate it.
As are you, Senator. Thank you very much. Senator Gregg of New Hampshire.
Thank you.
Who knows what this young man has in store? We shall see.